How's it going, everybody? My name is Ryan, aka Blackbeard TCG, and in today's video, I want to talk about Iceberg. And first and foremost, nothing against Iceberg, but I feel really upset because for me, King is one of the most cool characters in all of One Piece in terms of his design. There's still question marks about his backstory and all of those things. And his leader card is absolute trash. And now we take a look at Iceberg, and Iceberg looks like he has true metagame potential. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Iceberg, talking about some of the cards that were revealed for him, and talk about why I believe that this might be the new go-to purple deck. So Iceberg is as follows: 5,000 power, 5 life, relatively standard, and the traits that you would assume, Water 7 and Galila Company. Makes sense, right? The first thing that we need to talk about, full stop, is the first line of text in his ability. This leader cannot attack. Now, why is this so important? Well, every single leader in OPO 1, every single leader in OPO 2, and now every single leader in OPO 3 minus Iceberg, they can all attack. It's just part of the game's mechanics. Your leader is another unit that you can use on board to attack other units or enemy leaders, right? The reason why this is important is because this deck is inherently nerfed just off that ability alone. This leader cannot attack. So you automatically have one less attacker at all stages of the game throughout the entire game. It's a pretty big downside, but once we start breaking it down, you start to see why it needs this, because it's just so good. The rest of its ability is you can minus one Dawn, so sending one Dawn back to your Dawn deck, and you can play one character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. This ability is very, I will say it one more time, my friends, very strong. Now, of course, it is gated behind Galila Company characters, but you have to think, if a card is cost 5, it is going to be very powerful. We've seen a ton of cost 5 cards, as you can see on the screen right now, that are very, very powerful. Cost 5 cards tend to be that slot that is highly contested because there are a lot of powerful cards, and I think that Galila Company is going to be no stranger. And keep in mind, it's a cost of 5 or less, so it's not just cost of 5. If there's anything that's less than that, you'll be able to do that as well. If you look at decks like Trafalgar Law is really, really powerful because he can cheat out 5 costs, right? For 2 costs, you can send back a 5 cost, and then on top of that, send back another card, bring out a 3 cost. It's just absolutely nutty being able to cheat cards out with only 2 Dawn. For the cost of 1 Dawn, you could cheat out a card that's 5 Dawn, right? That alone can definitely warrant Iceberg not being able to attack, because on your first turn, you essentially can play a 5 cost card. This is an extremely powerful ability, and I'm not going to lie, it worries me because depending on what else we see in Galila Company, how do you not play this deck if you want to play purple? Let's talk about Kokoro real quick. Not much to really say about her, right? Very, very standard searcher. 1 cost, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Water 7 card other than herself, add it to your hand, let's go to the bottom of your deck in any order. Very standard searcher that we see in many archetypes that make a deck consistent, that make a deck work. We'll get back to her. So Tilestone is the first character here that can be cheated out from as soon as your first turn. 5 cost, 6,000 power, Water 7 Galila Company, and if your leader has the Galila Company type, you can add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it once it's KO'd. This is huge because you're paying 1 Dawn to play it, and in the event that it dies, say it gets swung into, no problem, you get that Dawn back that you invested to play it. Very, very good, because with 1 Dawn attached, it'll become a 7,000 attacker. It's 6,000 power, so this is something that can go up and pressure Whitebeard very early as well. If you notice that they don't have Moby Dick and you kind of want to rush them down, accelerate them, so that way they can establish board with other Whitebeard pirates to swing with plus 2,000 power. This is a very, very strong card that you are going to want to have going up against Whitebeard. I love this card. And the fact that it can be cheated out is so good, and you're essentially playing it for free, because the Dawn that you used to send it back, you can get it back once it gets KO'd. And now, of course, you could just say, okay, like your opponent just doesn't have to KO it, now you're just negged 1 Dawn. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but if you think about it, sure, go ahead, don't KO it. I'll just have a 6,000 beater every turn swinging into your unit, swinging into your face every single turn. So by all means, go ahead, keep it alive. Okay, next, I gotta talk about Rob Lucci. And first and foremost, this artwork. Like, I can't believe that this is just a rare. Like, the artwork on this card is absolutely amazing. To be fair, I'm not too excited to pilot purple myself because there's a lot of interesting decks in OPO3 that I want to play. But with that being said, I would not mind pulling this card because, I mean, hey man, Rob Lucci's looking clean in this art. But let's talk about his ability. So again, 5 cost, 6,000 power, all the same positives that I just mentioned earlier about Tilestone. But with 1 Dawn attached when attacking, you can rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. We all know how important the 5 cost slot is. I've already went over that with all of you. So now we can rest things like the Yamato, try to swing over it. Now we can rest things like the Queen and get our attacks through. Now we can rest things like the Trafalgar Law and try to KO that. Or attach Dawn to Rob Lucci, rest the Trafalgar Law to be able to swing at the 8 cost kid. Like, this card just enables you to do so many things. And oh, by the way, did I mention that it could just be cheated out or as early as turn 1 if needed? Of course, you might not need to play it that early, but if you wanted to, you could, because you could just send back 1 Dawn from your leader ability, plop down Rob Lucci, and you have a big beater on board. You are cheating out characters like crazy off cooldown with this deck, and it's super scary. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, okay, Ryan, sure, you could cheat these cards out, but remember, if you go first, you get 1 Dawn. If you go second, you get 2 Dawn. Every turn after that, you get 2 Dawn. And if you're always just sending back 1 Dawn every single time, you're going to be ramping very, very slowly, right? Like, sure, you're getting units on board, but at some point, if the enemy's able to control the board, then you're just going to be falling behind and not have enough Dawn to actually do things. Yeah, I thought so. I definitely thought so until I woke up this morning and I seen this card. What you guys are seeing on your screen right now is a new card that was revealed this morning called Four of. Oh, sorry. I mean, it's called Onigashima. Oh, no, sorry. I mean, it's called Galila Company. Okay, no, let me get serious. But you are going to be playing 4 copies of this, and this is Onigashima. Its ability is you may rest this stage, and if your leader is Iceberg, you can add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it. Yes, I will say that again. You can add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it. Iceberg, send back 1 Dawn to play a cost of 5 or less. Tap Galila Company, add that Dawn you just sent back to your Dawn area. So you effectively played a 5 cost character for 1 Dawn for free. There is no downside. Now, why am I like this? Why am I gasping? Why am I like saying like this is so powerful? Let's take a step back. Remember Little Miss Kokoro? You know, the card that we talked about earlier that I said we'd get back to, but I wasn't going to spend too much time on. Let's just read the ability real quick. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Water 7 type card other than Kokoro. Water 7 type card. Type any Water 7 card. You can search for your Onigashima. You can search for Galila Company. This is This is insane! This is insane! You could imagine if in Kaido you could search for Onigashima. Like, I'm dumbfounded. I don't even know what to say. I think that Iceberg is going to be a threat. Now, is he going to be tier 0 best deck? Oh my gosh, whatever. Like, it's way too early to say that. We haven't even seen the rest of the cards for the other colors. Nami looks really strong. Ace looks really strong. And, you know, I talked to you guys about how I'm excited for Ace. And, like, I'm excited for Nami, obviously, because she's blue. I have interest in Rob Lucci. And as of late, especially if you guys have been keeping up with my Twitter, you'll see that I'm starting to convert to black deck equals best deck. But that's a topic for another video. Basically, don't mean to ramble on here, but I'm getting a little bit nervous because I think the power creep is starting to come. Like, I don't think it's fully here yet, but I think we're slowly starting to see it. And you know what? Every single game, every single card game, like in general, just every single game will have some level of power creep, right? As time goes on. And it's just how the game is like refreshed. It's how it keeps it fun and changes things. Obviously, it's how they sell more product. If the old cards were always just the most powerful, then no one would buy the new ones, right? It makes sense. But I hope we just don't approach it too quickly because we're on set 3. And yellow looks like it will be a formidable deck. So we have a new color coming in that looks like it's going to add some power creep of its own in terms of the life. But then now on top of that, we have these new colors that look really, really strong. We have a searchable Onigashima for the archetype. I don't know. I think that it's here. I think that we're starting to see the power creep. I just hope that it's not too extreme to the point where, you know, a lot of things just become obsolete. I think OPO2 was beautiful because there was still a lot of competitive OP01 decks, right? Like Kaido still performed. Zoro was one of the top decks, if not the top deck for a lot of the meta, right? You had Kid, you had all these decks. You had Red Green Law that's been performing, right? So you had all of these old leaders performing. OPO2 was a fantastic format from what I've seen, and I think it'll be amazing for us when it comes to the West. So I just hope that OPO3 keeps the same. I hope OPO3 adds more tools for OPO2 leaders. Maybe some OPO1 leaders that weren't the best could get some more tools, or maybe some that were decent get more. Like maybe Odin gets stronger, who knows? So hopefully it does that. But then hopefully the OPO3 cards are also interesting and fun enough, and I think they are based on what we've seen. I think that it's going to be good enough for us to play and enjoy. I hope that the OPO3 cards aren't just extremely cracked and everybody just plays that. But with that being said, I'm very, very curious. I will be reading every single comment on this video. I'm also going to be probably making a video dedicated to just answering the comments as well. So if you want your comment in my next video, I will literally be going through all the comments in this video in my next video, because my next video I want to talk about potential power creep. So let me know what you guys think about Iceberg first and foremost, and secondly, do you think that OPO3 is the gateway to power creep, and what do you think power creep is the gateway to power creep? And let me know your thoughts on, do you think what, or tell me what you think power creep looks like in One Piece. Very, very curious to hear your thoughts. I will catch you guys later. Have an amazing day or night or whatever time it is for you. Right now, it's Saturday. I'm going to have an amazing weekend. I hope you guys do too. Peace.